Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by the Hard Truth Distilling Company in Brown County, Indiana.
So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, it's time!
3 on the way. Oh! It went in! It went in! And Indiana wins the ball game! Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni! Float game for the win! Taylor's gone. Come on, touchdown, Indy! Woo! IU! America! They got a football team now!
It's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Now, from the Hard Truth Studios, here's Jim Coyle.
Oh, welcome back. Look who's back. Shady's back and back again, as joined by Mike DeCourcy. Mike, I just did a great opening for the show and was not going live and didn't know that for a good part of it. So got good practice in on that. So it's got to get back into the hang of things, brother. Welcome back. Welcome into Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Great to have everybody along. Look who's back. Shady is back, but not obviously got to knock the rust off of things here. That's why I need a full-time producer, man. Rookie moves, rookie mistakes on this day. Mike DeCourcy joining us from the Sporting News. Mike, how are you, brother?
I am great, Jim. I have got to ask, Don's call, the "it went in" call, is that from the Christian Watford shot? Is that what that is?
Yes.
Oh, it's an amazing call. I love the surprise in his voice, conveyed to all of Hoosier Land. I love that opening. It's terrific.
Well, thank you very much. But yeah, it's great only because of those great voices that are on there, like Matt Taylor from the Colts. And but yeah, Don, he's just so unique because even after 50 plus years of doing what he does, he still sounds fresh. It's not old hat to him, and that's why people love him so much. I mean, one of the reasons that, and he does such a great job and such a unique voice. He's one of those I like to try to imitate certain people when I can. Him and Bob Knight, I can't. They have these cadences, you know, if you listen to how they would speak, even Bob Knight, how he would enunciate some of his words, solid Midwestern type of thing. You know, he's from Ohio and Don is from Illinois, but they both have these kind of unique cadences that I don't even pretend to touch. Now, I cannot wait till Don returns. You know, he takes the summers off, Mike, for his golfing. You know, he's got to get his golf in. But when he returns, my goal is to have Matt Taylor, who does the Colts play-by-play, who does a spot-on Don Fisher. It is great. And I want to have Don Fisher, welcome Don Fisher back to the show. It is without telling Don at first. But, yeah, Matt Taylor does an unbelievable job. It's remarkable. So, but how are you, man? How have you been? How was your week last week? I didn't get to be with you. I took some time off for the first time in the history of the show, and boy, was I happy to be able to do that.
That's nice. That's great. It was an interesting week. I got a chance to go up to the Meadowlands, New Jersey. I didn't make it into the city. I was really hoping I would, but it just didn't work out time-wise. But I went up to New York, to New York, New Jersey area for the Club World Cup final, and got to see where the World Cup final will be in a year and 5 days. We'll have the two World Cup finalists back there in New Jersey. Got to see the press set up and all of that, and very much, got me very excited for next summer. It's going to be an amazing show. I wrote a column about all the whining about the weather from the Europeans. that went on during the course of the Club World Cup, which was kind of ironic because at the time it was coming, there was a massive, deadly heat wave in France that also caused wildfires in Spain. They had to shut down some of the key tourist attractions in Athens, in Greece, because it went like over 105. There were heat advisories all across England, and yet the English soccer writers and the coaches for Chelsea, the coach for Chelsea in particular, Enzo Maresca, were really viciously critical of the United States as a venue, including for next summer for the World Cup. And I'm like, hey, look, it's hot. I get it. And the thunderstorms that interrupt the game are a pain. I get that too. But where do you go to do this if everywhere's hot? Because it's the summer.
You think it doesn't rain in England?
It does. It does. It rains in
Are
England.
they related to? Is he related to Greg Sankey?
I like it. And it was amazing to me that there were this many complaints. And I recalled, in 1994, I went to my first World Cup game, Jim. I was living in Memphis at the time. I wanted to see a World Cup game. There was a game in Dallas between Germany and South Korea. And Dallas, I think, was a 6 or 7 hour drive from Memphis or something like that. And I said to my wife, I said, I really want to do this. So we bought tickets and we drove down, and it was like 108 degrees, and with a heat, whatever you call it, with the humidity, feels like.
But it's not a dry heat though.
Yeah. Oh, it was like up over 115 for those of us in the stands, and because it was 1994 and people didn't understand like that the world was a big world. They decided that they were afraid of the fans, so they erected chain link fencing all around the stadium. So we're sitting there like in, I don't know, row 10, 12 or whatever, and the sun is hitting off the chain link fencing and making it even hotter. And I pointed out that, yeah, they're going back to Dallas, Jim, but you know what? There's a roof. There's air conditioning. So the games that they played in 30 years ago that were really hot are now going to be air conditioned. So why are they complaining so much?
What else are they going to do? Get some, they're preparing.
What they're really trying to say, Jim, what they're really trying to say is the World Cup shouldn't be here in the United States. That's what they're really trying to say.
Yes,
even though
preparing that,
even now at that point the World Cup was 24 teams and I think 54 games, and now it's 30 and up until now it's been 32 teams and I think 64 games. I think the United States 94 still holds the all-time attendance record, 3.5 plus million for a World Cup. Nobody's ever done more than that. And with the expansion of the World Cup to now 48 teams and more than 100 games, it's likely that we will double that next summer, Jim. We're going to draw more than 7 million fans for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And nowhere else in the world could do that. They don't have the stadium size. They don't have the capacity to do it. And we're going to do it between us and Mexico and Canada. We're going to do it. And it's going to be a spectacular success. And yeah, it's going to probably be hot in Miami when they play there. And they should probably play Miami as late as possible or as early as possible, whichever. The real problem is Europe. It's actually Europe because they want to hold the games in the afternoon. So they're in prime time in Europe. And so so they are causing the problem and then complaining about it.
Well, what else you gonna do? You got to prepare that stuff, man. You got to prepare those excuses. So yeah, how'd you like to be a football player and have a helmet and another 20 pounds of equipment on your body while you're running in that summer heat? Trust me, I remember doing that in high school, so I don't want to hear that crap. It was brutal, man. Brutal. The SEC and Big Ten not agreeing on the CFP model at the moment. And to me, the biggest holdup for the Big Ten is the 8-game schedule the SEC and the ACC play. And I don't understand how the SEC does not just comprehend that they're probably not going to give in on that. Get it up to an even playing field, which, they're just bite the bullet, guys. You give in, and then the Big Ten will give in. You want a 16-game schedule or a CFP model, then get up to playing 9 games like the rest of us do, and we'll talk then. But I don't. If they don't make that change, agree to make that change here soon, there will not be a change to the next model agreement for the CFP. They have, made the change to rightfully so of the seeds, but the Big Ten is not going to give in, and Tony Petitti is doing the right thing until they get up to 9 games.
Jim, I will say this, that now that they fixed the seeding, I hope they argue about this till the end of time. The SEC can play 8 games if they want, and then we have a 12-team playoff with proper seeding. Where's the problem? I think I'm good with that. I think the 12-team playoff was a massive success. I loved everything about it, with the exception of the wedding the quarterfinal round of bowl games. I don't think that's necessary. Or not the quarterfinal, the semifinal round, the bowl game. I don't think you have to do that. But if you're going to do it, whatever. We still had a terrific show last year with the broken seeding system. Now they fixed it. So if they want to stay at 12 with the correct seeding forevermore, I'm fine with that. We don't need 4 automatic bids for the SEC and Big Ten. They're going to get their teams in anyway because they've got the most good teams. That's reality. And it's not likely to change.
Well, if they go to those 9 games, though, I think that would their argument last year. Alabama deserved to be in, and South Carolina and Ole Miss. Well, if they had that 9th game, that would eradicate some of that, because some of those are going to eliminate themselves, and they obviously don't want to do that. They want to.
But they'll see. That's the thing, Jim. They'll eliminate some, yes, but elevate others. That's how you do it.
It will separate. Yes, it will truly.
Yes,
it would give us the separation that is needed. A 16-game or team model would not bother me.
No,
but I'm fine with 12 too, because you know that you're going to probably get the best teams like you should, because it's of the separation. Especially if they would go to 9 games, the ACC would really eliminate probably themselves, because their conference is not that strong in football right now. So that would take care of them. Again, the Big 12, they must already play 9 games, even though they don't have nearly how many teams are in the Big 12 now? I don't even
they have
know.
16, I believe.
Okay, so they're that big. All right. So yeah, they bit the bullet and did it. And it's just, to me, it's just common sense. I mean, especially in this day and age, if you, with this pot of gold at the end of the rainbow and being the CFP, earn your way in, just like the Untouchables. Earn it. But we'll see.
They keep talking a lot down there. My friend Matt Hayes from USA Today, who used to work with me at Sporting News, kept talking about it. SEC Media Days, which are this week, that strength of schedule is kind of like the mantra. It's the message that everybody wants to send out, and it's based on perception. That's the thing, Jim, because there is almost no intersection among the various conferences. Like a year ago in the men's basketball season, what I do for Fox Sports, covering the selection process for Fox and Big Ten Network, they play against one another all the time. SEC plays Big Ten plays ACC, et cetera, et cetera. There's a ton of intersection. And the SEC got 14 teams into the NCAA men's basketball tournament because they earned it by dominating out of conference competition, especially against the ACC, but in a lot of other venues as well. You saw Purdue lost to Auburn badly. Auburn also beat Ohio State, et cetera, et cetera. So they elevated themselves by doing that. But in football, there's almost no intersectional competition. It's very little, very limited. Most of the major programs play 3 bye games and then get into their season. In the case of the SEC, because they don't play that ninth conference game, that what the better teams will do is find a major program that's broken. Like Alabama played Florida State as many times as they could during the post Bobby Bowden years before they finally got it together, and now it's broken again. But they played them at every chance they could get because it was a good brand. They knew they'd win the game. There was a chance that maybe Florida State would go into a weaker conference and do some things. If they didn't, so what? It didn't matter because they played Florida State. They could sell tickets, etc. That's how they've always done their schedules. It's not necessarily. It doesn't really necessarily prove anything, but it's worked for them. And so now there's this perception that they have more good football teams. Well, they may, but they never prove it. I mean, they never in the bowl games that they entered over the last several years, when they've lost, we didn't really care about this. Mm-hmm. And when they've won, they're like, okay, see how good we are. That's the way the SEC has done things for the last decade or so, and it's worked. And look, they may have more good teams, but they haven't had to prove it. If they want strength of schedule to matter, go out against the Big Ten, ACC, and Big 12 and prove you're better. But they don't want. They want you to believe they're better without them having to prove it.
Yeah, adding a 9th game could be an intersectional matchup with the Big Ten. It doesn't have to be the Big Ten, I guess, but that would be certainly an exciting way to spice things up. Yes. Adding that 9th game as a cross-sectional rivalry between the two conferences, but then are those two conferences putting themselves at a little peril because they're allowing the ACC and the Big 12 to not have to put themselves out like that, I guess you would, so to speak, because boy, that, if you're a Big 10 team and this team loses to an SEC team and they happen to be on that Mendoza line of getting to the CFP, but they lost to the SEC and vice versa. It would go the other way around. So it certainly that game would become of uber importance, I think, in the deciding factor at the end of the year.
I think that look, the college football playoff is not under NCAA regulations. They can do anything they want, as they've done with the automatic bids, which I fully support because I'm a realist. The group of 5 teams get one automatic bid. That is a college football playoff construct. So what they could say is to all the Power 4 teams, that you have to play an opponent from another power conference in order to qualify for the college football playoff. Every single team has to play at least one game against an outside power conference team. And if Alabama wants to schedule that game against the weakest team in the Big 12, that's up to them, but it's going to affect their seeding. But everybody has to play one. If you do that, at that point, then the schedule strength numbers start to matter. They start to mean something because now you have a data pool. Now you have intersectional competition for every single team in a Power 4 conference. That's everybody, ACC, SEC, Big 10, Big 12. And now you can start to argue strength of schedule. And if the SEC goes out in those games and wins and goes 14-2 or 13-3 or whatever, if they do that, as they did in the men's basketball season that we just got through, then they'll get a ton of bids, and they'll have earned it. Hey, I didn't have any problem with writing 14 SEC teams down on my bracket when I turned it in for the final go round on Selection Sunday, because they earned every one of those bids. That I had no problem with that. So if they earn 5-6 bids to a 16-team playoff, cool, because they earned it. But you don't just get it because everybody thinks you're better. That we've been existing on, I think, in college football for too long. We've gotten past it mostly this past year. We got past it for the most part, but we would really get past it if we mandated what I suggested and then use the data that comes from that to order the teams and select them.
Yeah, a 16-team model, you would not even need a 4-team guarantee for the SEC, in my opinion. There's
no,
just with that many slots, there's no way that, and I wouldn't have thought that 4 teams wouldn't have gotten in like even last year, but they were on that kind of year. But there's a big difference between 12 and 16, but there's a big difference as far as there's talent. There's only so many programs that are going to be able to stay up in that upper echelon. And the SEC has right now just too many programs that will be up there. So I don't see how there's any way that they would not get 4 teams in with the 16-team model without a guarantee, and very probable in some years 5. Easily.
With the 12-team model, Jim, I did the math on this last year. Now, what I did was I went over the course of the 10 years of the college football playoff that was the 4-teamer. And then I used current membership for all the conferences. And I said, okay, how many bids would they have gotten? Now, that's a little flawed because Washington was playing Pac-12 teams, et cetera, et cetera. And Arizona and Arizona State were playing Pac-12 teams. So it's not an idea. But, I mean, you get an idea of, you had the core memberships for all those leagues pretty much intact with for the Big 12, the ACC, SEC, and Big 10. And in all honesty, the Big 10 and the SEC averaged right, and this is for 12 teams, averaged right at 4 entrants each over the course of those 10 years. 10 years is a pretty big data pool. They averaged 4 teams each. And in multiple years, each of them would have gotten 5 in multiple years through the course of that decade. So it's one of the reasons why, if I'm the Big 10 and SEC, I don't want that 4-team guarantee, because there will be years, and there may be many years, when I get 5 or 6 for each. They're obviously not going to both get 5 or 6 in any given year. Like if it's 5 for the SEC one year, it'll probably be 4 for the Big 10 or whatever. They're not going to both get 5. That's really hard. The math just doesn't work very well. It's conceivable, but it's unlikely. Usually it'll be 5 and 4, 4 and 5, etc. But they'll get more than 4 teams on average. If you did it that way over the course of the next 10 years, without the 4 guarantees for each, they'll both average 4+. Whether it's 4.1, 4.5, whatever, it'll be over 4. I would guarantee in a 16-team playoff that each of those conferences will average more than 4 bids a year. But if you say we're getting 4, I think at that point the committee will be predisposed to not grant you any more than you're already getting. So I think if I'm the 2 of them, I don't want that system. I don't think it works as well. I know that Tony Petitti has this plan where if you go to that 4, then you can have playoff games into those 4, and then that's more revenue. I know that's part of the component, but I like the idea of just trying to get more bids, because you're still getting more revenue if you're getting more CFP bids, and maybe more revenue than those playoffs into the 4 would generate.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, the SEC is a little lucky that the Big 10 teams that they have added, like USC, has just not been that strong. Now you've got Oregon that has and stayed that way, but USC is just, they've not been close to being USC. So that's a team that has not been in that fight yet. And then you've got surprise teams like Indiana, Illinois, who are both going to be in that same fight again this year. So it's going to be fun. Cannot wait. Look forward to how that gets going. Kickoff is only 6 weeks away, man. Cannot believe it. The great Mike DeCourcy is with us from the Sporting News, Fox and Big Ten Networks. Here, listening on ISB, Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle. We're back with more right after these messages, and hope you stick with us.
Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing, or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition, or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemooreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth Sour Mash Bourbons, Sweet Mash, and Hard Road Ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular toasted coconut rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle on this Tuesday. Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News, Fox and Big Ten Networks with us as well. I don't know how I didn't get him back added to the stage, how he snuck off there. Basketball over the summer, lots going on. You got the NBA Summer League, of course. I kind of unplugged over the last week, didn't watch that. A little drama with NBA drama, of course. Myle Turner. I'm like, really? Dude, you just had a great run, a great long run with a franchise. And I don't know if his feelers are hurt because they didn't sign him to this massive contract, but now he's going out throwing shots, and maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just to fire it up, to keep the Milwaukee series and Indiana going. But boy, it's funny. You leave town, and he didn't leave town without burning some bridges.
Jim, I read some of the articles. I didn't see what people objected to. The one sentence that I saw in there that could be construed as bothersome was about we wanted to stay competitive. I looked at that as to me, that was a short-term response. Obviously, Tyrese being out for the year, it's not going to be a year like we've seen over the last 2 as a result of Tyrese being out. But other than that sentence, I didn't see what was inflammatory, and maybe I missed it. But I saw very strong reactions from a lot of Indianapolis media personalities that I respect, but I didn't see in there what was objectionable.
Yeah, I didn't even read it. I'll be honest with you. Like I said, I completely disconnected from it, and I don't know that he really did. He say something specifically that really caught people, or was it just somebody reading between the lines?
I think that's what I got, and for me, the line that seemed objectionable was the line, or somewhat objectionable, and not enough for me to get as bothered as some did. And so maybe, like I said, I missed something. But the one line I saw was basically him saying in so many words, this was my chance to stay competitive. And as I said, I looked at that as strictly a short-term response, which was, we're going to have a rough year next year, no Tyrese, so maybe I can stay in the hunt with Milwaukee next year. I don't know that it went beyond that, or if there was another comment that was more bothersome than that one. I just didn't see it as being particularly an issue. There were some media people who wrote that you go for the most money all the time, and I'm not in agreement with that. That's not ever been my approach in my career, to just go wherever the most money is. That's never been my approach. I think you go where you're comfortable, where you're happy, where you feel like you'll have a chance to be challenged and grow and all that. If that's what Miles thinks Milwaukee will do, okay, go for it. I think, honestly, Miles had reached sort of a peak, a career peak. I think we saw this is as good as it gets. And I'm not saying that if he had remained with the Pacers, that it wouldn't have been better than any alternative that they've been able to conceive. But if he'd played better in the Oklahoma City series, maybe they win it, because they were good enough to win that series. We looked at Oklahoma City going through the West in the manner in which they did, with the exception of their Nuggets series, and a lot of people thought, oh, the Pacers have no chance. And for a lot of the final series, the Pacers were the better team. But for very little of the Pacers series, of the final series, was Myle Turner the reason they were the better team, if any at all. Maybe a possession here or there, but he did not have a good series at all. And so if somebody's willing to overpay him to be that player, okay, it'd be nice if you have a better alternative. And if James Wiseman ever was healthy enough, A, and driven enough, B, to be better, he could be a better basketball player than Myle Turner. He's got all the tools. I watched him as a high school player and thought, this guy's got everything he needs, except where's the motor? Is the motor there? And then he walked away from Memphis in the midst of that disappointing season, the suspension from the NCAA, instead of fighting. Jim, the response to that, to them challenging you in that way, is not to give up, it's to fight. And so we're now, 5 years into James's career, and he's had a few good moments. But if he ever says, I want this, in the way that Miles pretty much showed up every day and said, yeah, I want it, but he just didn't have quite enough to battle the multiple bigs of the Thunder in that final series. If you got Tyrese back and a prime version of James Wiseman, you could be better. I just don't know that James will get there. I hope so, for his sake and for the Pacers. I hope so, and for American basketball, I'd love to see a full speed James Wiseman, because he can run, jump, handle, shoot, but does he fight? And I don't mean box. I mean fight for every rebound, fight for every minute that he can get on the floor. If he competes like that, he can be a significant NBA player. I don't have any doubt.
Well, I wonder what he thinks he's so competitive at now, because he's going to a team that has the Pacers have owned when they were healthy, and now that Bucks team is not healthy. They've already, like someone already pointed out, Damian Lillard, he's out for the season as well, and he's been released.
Well,
so they don't have, and does it Antetokounmpo and Myle Turner kind of play the same position as far as?
No, they don't. Because Miles is a stretch five, so he's going to be away from the goal with his ability to shoot the basketball in the way that Brook Lopez was for the Bucks, up until Brook just kind of Brook is his career just he reached his mileage limit, so to speak. Again, I don't know that Miles isn't there. I don't think he's quite there yet. I think he still has more. He's barely reaching his 30th birthday. So I think he can stay at least at the level he was this year. So they will not cancel each other out. Giannis wants to be by the bucket. Now, he may start out at the top of the key or thereabouts and then drive it and blow you up that way. But his damage, the most of his damage is going to be done near the bucket. So that as long as Miles is away from the goal and not drawing defenders in there, that works. But they are weaker now on the perimeter. They did not protect their NBA championship well. They won that championship in 21, and they didn't protect it well. They signed Giannis, which was great, but they didn't protect the rest of it. Drew Holiday, etc. They thought Dame was the answer. It hadn't worked out, and then they decided to let go of him. So they don't have a lot of other assets to make that work. I don't think that, like, if you put Tyrese on the Pacers next year, even with Miles in Milwaukee, I still think the Pacers are a better team with whoever at center. James returning, Isaiah Jackson returning. I still think they're a better team than Milwaukee with Miles and Giannis, because I don't think the rest of their components are great, especially with Dame gone. So I think what Miles was saying in that competitive thing was he was trying to preach to the audience that he was now speaking to in Milwaukee. We're going to be good. They probably won't be next year because they got no Tyrese. That's really the translation of what he said. I shouldn't have translated poor grammatically. They will not have Tyrese. So it's not fair to put bad grammar in Miles's mouth. So we're going to be good. They are not. That's the message he was sending. And he forgot that those messages are not strictly now just for your audience. It doesn't take a day and a half to get to Indianapolis now. It takes 18 seconds. Somebody sees it on Twitter, and then all of a sudden there's a reaction. He was not speaking to Indianapolis. He was speaking to Milwaukee, and forgetting that when you speak to Milwaukee now, you're speaking to the world.
The Philadelphia 76ers with a pair of former Hoosiers now, with Eric Gordon re-signing, and you've got Jalen Hood-Schifino. That would be perfect for Jalen Hood-Schifino to have a nearly 20-year NBA veteran in Eric Gordon, who is almost as productive today as he was. He has just been. He's been a really very, very long-term productive player. Was it just 2 seasons ago? He had 50 points, I think. But it just perfect for someone like Jalen Hood-Schifino, who is still finding his way in the NBA. Although with Philadelphia, it was definitely a great opportunity for him. He received a lot more playing time at the end of the season last year, and much more of an opportunity. So that has to be great to kind of connect with someone who a former Hoosier for him, and who has that background and can kind of give him some guidance.
Yeah, I mean, I still think that Jalen has a chance to be a very good NBA point guard. I didn't think that his circumstance before was ideal. I don't know where the Sixers are in their evolution. I don't know that they know where they are, but I think that his circumstance there will be better than it was before. He needs to be a better shooter to be a successful NBA player in this age. He's going to have to become a more accurate shooter to be successful, but he's got everything else, Jim. And as I've pointed out a lot lately, the NBA wants their point guards Jalen Hood-Schifino sized. That's the ideal now. It's not like they won't look at a Chris Paul. If we get another Chris Paul in American basketball comes along, they're going to take him. They did it. They did it this past year in the draft. They're going to take that, that quick point guard if they get a chance. Like Jeremiah Fears was selected by New Orleans. They can get that small guy, they'll still take him, but they really like their Tyrese Halliburtons and Shai Gilgeous-Alexanders. Those are the guys that they want. And Jalen fits that profile in terms of physicality, and he's stronger than those two guys. But but what works for those others is they are terrific shooters. And so all the rest of the game opens up as a result. You have to honor the perimeter. They can go by you and make things happen. But if they don't have to honor the perimeter, then it's not as big a threat. And so he's got to get in the gym. He's got to be shooting those jump shots. If he needs a shooting coach, he's got to work with that. He may already be doing those things, but the success in that venue will lead to success in the rest of the game. But right now, after 2 years, he's a .262 career 3-point shooter. That's not going to work to elevate him to full-time NBA success.
The July evaluation period going on right now. The Indiana basketball staff is out during that first weekend. You've got all the activity going on down in South Carolina, the EYBL tour, the 3SSB tour, and the Mike DeCourcy tour. What other tour? I think there are 4 of them now. That's a lot. That's a lot to keep track of, but that's a lot for the staffs to have to manage all 4 of these locations, and they have to do it because they've got to get there and see these guys while they can.
Well, but they now have more people to manage it, whereas before they'd have 4 people total, the head coach and 3 assistants, and then maybe an ops guy who also had a whole bunch of other things to worry about. Or I shouldn't say guy because my friend Victoria's son was an ops person, so I should say ops person. They had those 4 people and an ops person, and now they've got recruiting directors and general managers and all the rest of that. So there are plenty of people to manage that now. It's not as difficult as it used to be, but there are more circuits. There are more places you have to be. There's no doubt about that. And of course, now the evaluation period is stretched. It's not as compact. You have to be aware for longer. It's a challenge. I will say though, Jim, I spent so many summer days on that trail. There should be a series named after me. I was there in the beginning. Like I was there at the very beginning when the Nike camp came to Indianapolis. And I remember I was thinking about this as I was going through the airport yesterday, coming back from the soccer event, that I do miss being out on the road for the summer evaluation period. I do miss it. And I was thinking about what I wrote a piece once that when I came to the Nike camp in 91, I think it was 91 or 92, I came for the first time, and it was me and Dick Weiss and somebody from the Star, and it was and then just the recruiting people, Bob Gibbons, Van Coleman, people like that, Clark Francis, and we were the only people in the gym other than players and the coaches, just about. And then 20 years later, I remember I was interviewing Noah Vonleh at an event. I think it was up at North Central High. I believe that's where it was. It was an Adidas event, and I think it was being held at North Central. And there were 20 of us around, just Noah, at that point. That's how much recruiting coverage changed in that 20-year period. And I'm sure it's even different now, 10 years after that. As I have not been on the recruiting road since 2019. Once the pandemic hit, I missed a couple of years, and then soccer events have kept me away from being out in July. But it has changed so much over the course of that period. It's phenomenal to see how much it's changed. It's a totally different structure, totally different process. I'm not sure that spreading out all those players among all those venues is as great for the competition as it was. When I was at Nike, the 120 best players in America were there in 91, 92. Tony Delk, Corliss Williamson, Rasheed Wallace. I remember those 3 players in particular. It was a phenomenal year. I remember the first time I saw Michael Redd at Nike 3-4 years later. whatever it was, and saw Michael Redd busting threes and couldn't figure out why he wasn't more highly recruited. Why wasn't he like somebody everybody wanted? Michael Redd was tremendous. He was the best player in the gym for a couple of those days, and nobody was talking about him. And he ends up in the NBA for 15 years. And takes Ohio State to a Final Four. Those discoveries were fun. I do miss those, and I envy Jeff Goodman and Rob Doster and all the rest of those guys who are out there. Kristen Peak for Hoops HQ. I envy them being able to get out there and see all those players as they blossom. I was talking to Kristen in advance of the NBA draft, and she told me about the first time she saw Cooper Flagg, and it was like in a 15 and under game at the Peace Jam or something like that. And she saw Cooper Flagg, and she started calling coaching friends and saying, "Hey, you got to get over and see this person, man. He is a baller." And she's a terrific, has a great eye for talent. She was 100% right on Coop.
Well, yeah, all that's going on. We've got on three's Jamie Shaw out there, and of course our own Kyler Staley as well from the Hoosier.com, covering all these different events that are going on. And then it won't be long. We'll be heading to Puerto Rico, man. What's up next for you?
Next for me this week, this Thursday, we gave a hint yesterday about what we're working on, or what we have worked on, because it'll be published, all the work on.
And no, people, it is not a documentary about my life.
It is not. I'm sorry to say. It should be. We'll work on that next. But our big project, one of our summer things, is the LeBron MJ debate. And
there's no debate, baby. I can't wait to talk about this next week.
Okay. Because I think we'll have plenty to debate.
There is.
I'm on one side. Bill Bender, who is our college football expert, is on the other side. And our terrific NBA writer, Steph Noe, is sort of in the middle, talking about the impact of both of them on culture. I wrote about their Olympic experiences, what each of them meant to American basketball at the Olympic Games. Spoke to Mike Krzyzewski for that. That was a treat. I haven't talked to Mike in a little while. So it's all coming Thursday, I believe. I believe it drops Thursday. I don't think I mentioned who the two candidates are. Do I have to? Do I have to mention who the two candidates are? Did I mention their names, Michael and LeBron? Or maybe I didn't. So if I didn't, now I have.
I've heard of them, but yeah, no, it is a great debate, and it's a debate a lot of times between today's, I don't want to say kids, but today's viewers and those of 20 years ago. So, and even longer, but yeah, I look forward to it. Mike DeCourcy, make sure you're looking that up at the Sporting News and keeping up with all he has to put out. As always, buddy, we appreciate you.
Thanks, Jim.
Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Up next, the great Greg Rakestraw joins us on the other side. We're back with more right after these messages. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth's sour mash bourbons, sweet mash, and hard road ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular toasted coconut rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive.
The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State. Find us live on TV and streaming or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all. ISC. Local lives here.
Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's C-O-Y-L-E, to receive a discounted fundraiser. Welcome back to the Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Tuesday, joined now by the great Greg Rakestraw. Greg, how are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you, my friend. How are you?
Great, thank you for being so amenable to our moving around a little bit today. Went a little long there, and this is going to be a short segment before we jump over. But how was your summer been?
Summer is about over because Colts training camp is about to get started. So,
yeah,
it tends to fly by, especially when the Pacers had, the run that they did. And my summer break is never too long without much to do anyway. So you won't have a chance to talk to me next week. I get away for one final little excursion before training camp gets underway for me. So I get a chance to unplug for a few days, and then it's football season, and then I'll unplug at some point in time again in 2026.
Yeah, I hear you, brother. I just got back from some time off, which was something I'm not accustomed to getting to do. And I have to tell you, I enjoyed it immensely. So looking forward to that. But yeah, it's everything is right around the corner. Your Big Ten Media Days next week. Kickoff for college football 6 weeks away. Indiana basketball will be down in Puerto Rico next month as well. So, daggone it, the Brickyard 400 is coming up. That's next weekend as well. A week from
that
this
is correct. That is
Briscoe,
correct.
A great weekend again for him. I mean, he has had a great year. I think he's got like 4 poles. It started off the Daytona 500, starting off the year winning that pole. Unbelievably fast. He wins at Pocono, another fast track. But yesterday on a road course, he chased Shane Van Gisbergen around all day. And that is something because that dude, he's from New Zealand, he has come in and, they used to have the road course ringers. Well, he's more than a road course ringer. He is the guy that they are chasing. But Chase Briscoe did a hell of a job yesterday staying up there, and so congratulations. Now it'll be interesting to see how he comes to Indianapolis, and so hopefully we're going to have him on the program this week. But Chase Briscoe's it's starting to click with the Joe Gibbs Racing program.
And I'm not surprised because Chase is a talented driver, and obviously Joe Gibbs Racing has been phenomenal for the 20 to 25 years of its existence. So you knew it would be a matter of time before those two started to get it going.
Yeah. What is your, are you working at all during the Brickyard? I can't remember.
So I will do pre-race and post-race on the Fan, both Saturday and Sunday. So no official, there was thought I might be needed on the PA staff. That turned out to not be necessary. So it means I get to dress a little more casually. Means my parking spot will not be as good. But as far as the listeners are concerned, you will hear me on the Fan kind of before and after events on both Saturday and Sunday.
Now, who is on the PA? They have Alan Bestwick, or who is on the PA this time?
So Alan Bestwick and Dave Calabro. Normally in the month of May, I will be part of the morning team, the B team, the JV. I tell people I'm like the can't meet quarterback. I'm the 4th guy that is the easiest to cut from the PA staff. So in the month of May, it is so expansive. My talents are needed. Originally, there was thought I might be needed for some morning stuff on the 26th and 27th. That has since been curtailed. So simply Alan Bestwick and Dave Calabro. Vince Welch might make an appearance as well on that group.
As I alluded to, this was going to be a short segment. We've got the great Greg Rakestraw with us. And Greg, if you could stick around for a few minutes, I'd like to carry you over, and we'll talk about what you've got going coming up. That's all right?
That sounds good.
Greg, we've got lots more coming up. We'll bring it to you on the other side from Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Back with more If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemoreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth Sour Mash Bourbons, Sweet Mash, and Hard Road Ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular toasted coconut rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive. When it comes to apparel and promotions, Freethink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. Freethink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. Freethink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what Freethink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Jim Coyle with you as always. I think Greg will be rejoining us here in a minute. We will certainly see. I'll check back in with him, but I hope you had a great time without me, Coach. Again, big thanks. We'll talk to him soon as he'll be joining us this week at least a couple of times. And there's plenty to talk about. You've got lots of basketball that is already going on. And if you're not a subscriber to thehoosier.com, then you should be, because it is full of the information you need. Who's where, what coaches are where, watching what players, who's doing what. The first live period of July is in the books. The Peach Jam is looming. Stakes were high at session 4 of the Nike EYBL circuit last weekend. All that is in with Zach Browning and Alec Glasley and Kyler Staley all having pieces up. And Jordan Smith Jr., Prince Alexander Moody with Team Takeover, Aiden Durkak with Team Final, Ryan Hampton, Marcus Spears with Drive Nation. So lots to look at there and see, like I said, who's where, who's doing what, who's having a good run, and who is Indiana watching? Who is Darren DeVries and crew checking out? Where are they? There's just so much going on and so much to keep up with, not just on the basketball side either. Football, of course, the new On3 Rivals 300 ratings are out, and Indiana doing a phenomenal job for in all the recruiting circles, as we already knew that, but it just solidifies that, and that sends a message out to the guys that they're currently recruiting, that they're trying to land, that they want to land. When you see other guys your level or above, then they're going to jump into that. Greg Rakestraw from the ISC Sports Network joining us. Hey, how was that? You get introduced by your own commercial.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I will give you a heads up. I thought I had a 10:30 appointment. I have a 10 o'clock appointment. So unfortunately, to make this I've got about 5 to 10 minutes for you. If we can keep the conversation shorter, I appreciate it.
Anytime, buddy. So what's been going on with you? What have you been working on?
So the last thing for me, obviously Indy 11's been keeping me busy. So it's the second consecutive guest you can talk soccer with after Mike DeCourcy. But then also on Friday night, we had the Indiana North-South All-Star game from a high school football standpoint. So, and obviously that game.
I used to be the SID for that, by the way, Greg, back when I was in college.
So obviously that game is no longer, you don't get the Division I kids. You maybe get some of the FCS kids that will play in it. But for the most part, that has turned into the Division II, Division III NAI All-Star game, which is still a very high level. But you also get some kids that this is going to be their last competitive football game that they are playing in. And the other thing that has really happened over the last few years, because of the way the IFCA districts work, all of the Indianapolis area ends up being on the South, and the South has pretty much crushed the North. For the most part, for the last 5 years, they have gotten together. This was 37-0 was the score on Friday night. It is the third time in the last 4 years that the North has not scored an offensive point in the game. And frankly, the game sells out because people want to go see their son play, in an Indiana All-Star game. And it's just, you get this great kind of community outpouring, and it's like homecoming for football coaches around the state of Indiana. Everybody gets together. And so the outcome of the game is pretty quickly forgotten after the game is over. The win is you got to play in the All-Star game. But it may be time to think about, hey, can we redraw this a little bit to split up the Indy kids? Because just the difference in the level of football in Indianapolis versus virtually everywhere in the state seemingly grows, Jim, year by year.
Yeah, and I do remember when I was the sports information for that way back in 19 blah, 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 it was a little different. I mean, you had Jeff George playing in that, Ken Dilger, the year I was working on. I'm trying to remember who all was, but there were some high profile players that played in that. But like everything, man, even the Indiana All-Star game, we've seen Malachi Moreno played in the first game for Kentucky, but not the second because his responsibilities to Kentucky took over, which I will never understand that, because Indiana has Alexa Ristic, who is playing, who is on the team, but will not show up. I think that his schedule is now done, but he was playing in the U20 for Serbia. So they allowed him to finish that, which I think they should. I mean, it's great competition. And for Malachi Moreno, that was a great honor. Why not let him play that stinking game? That stuff makes no sense to me.
Well, they obviously let him play the game in Lexington.
Right.
Didn't let him play the game in Indianapolis. So I disagree with the decision. I would love to see him play in both games. But I get it. And then simply put, it is the fight that these events have to deal with, and it's rarely does the college side give ground in that situation. Let's put it that way.
No, they do not, especially usually more so in football because they're more worried about injuries. But I've seen Kentucky do that with players multiple times over the years. And I thought it was just the coach, to be honest with you, at the time, Calipari. But that turns out not to be the case on this one. But who cares? The Indiana kids are, man, you mentioned that gives them for this football game. It gives a lot more kids the opportunities to be seen. Still, there are kids out there that haven't signed with the college, right?
Correct. And again, most of those kids at this point have said, hey, I'm not going to keep playing college football. I would say there was probably 90 to 95 kids that played in the game on Friday night. My estimate would be maybe 10 to 15% have said, hey, I'm done playing college football. I'm done playing football. There was one young man in particular, as a defensive lineman, about 6'5" and 300 pounds. I just wanted to go, kid, if you think you can hack any level of academic work, there is a football scholarship waiting for you someplace. To be honest, some of the kids that are in the workforce were really good high school players, but they're about 5'9", 180 pounds. Probably not playing college football is the right decision for you. For a young man that is 6'5" and 3 bills, son, major in PE. We'll figure something out. We'll get you on a football roster because there clearly is more football in his future. And so I'm curious. I'll be kind of following his story just to see if he might end up playing somewhere in the very near future.
What is going on in the amateur ranks of sports for the state of Indiana over the next? I know we've got the Colts that are coming up. As a matter of fact, when does training camp start?
So training camp officially starts as of next Tuesday is when training camp will officially start. So next Tuesday is when players will move in, rookies move in on Monday. Official practices start on Wednesday.
Boy, we're going to see a quarterback battle. I mean, of sorts. I'm expecting that this year. Is that your understanding?
It is. Now, again, Anthony Richardson has a bit of a shoulder issue. We'll see exactly just how big of a problem that is going to be for him. Again, I would put Daniel Jones in front as of right now, but I think we will see a legitimate battle at the position. But yes, that is the end-all, be-all of the Colts conversation right now, is whom the starting quarterback is going to be.
Yeah, I agree with you, man, and look forward to that, and look forward to you. Hopefully, I'm going to try to get up there and do the show from training camp at least once, if every couple of weeks, if not. But there's so much going on with, football in college now, the Colts starting, the Big Ten will be starting. We're 6 weeks away from kickoff in college football, Greg. 6 weeks.
Correct. My first high school game is in 5.5 weeks. My first college game would be in 6.5 weeks. Then again, my first NFL game, Jim, is in 3 weeks. So I get to start with that first. That would be the Colts and the Ravens on August 7th.
Oh, the Ravens. Probably won't see Lamar Jackson, but if we do, it'll be for 2 seconds.
Yeah, but you know what? The Ravens tend to play hard in preseason. The Ravens tend to have more of a give a darn factor in the preseason than a lot of teams do.
We'll look forward to it. Greg, I cannot thank you enough for being so flexible as always, buddy.
No problem. I'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
Look forward to it. Greg Rakestraw joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Glad to have him along, and looking forward is all that is coming up, man. Football, college football, the NFL, it's back. Look who's back. Not just Shady's back, football's back. I talked about Indiana and the on-3 rivals. Now, remember, on-3 and rivals are the same, so you're getting multiple added to. When you go to the Hoosier.com, you're getting all of the on-3, which is, first of all, incredible. And the recruiting side is going to be with the rivals setup and the rivals guys, but you're getting twice as much. So there is no doubt, and it is proven, the most content without question. The Hoosier.com is just pumping out on a daily basis, not only on locally, but from a national perspective, covering all of these guys that Indiana is looking at down at these events, and including the Hoosier.com's Kyler Staley being out on the road as well. Football coming up. You've got Big Ten Media Days. Zach Browning will be out there for that. And we will be in Puerto Rico for Indiana basketball. It is a ton coming up, and we're bringing it all to you, whether via ISB Radio or the Hoosier.com, and both, actually, in most cases. But to ask that for those of you that are listening, go to the Hoosier.com and be a subscriber. It's only $5 or $1 for the first month, right? And then 50% off for the rest of, or for your entire first year. And you will get the most in-depth coverage, intel, inside information that you're not going to get anywhere else. In-state recruiting rankings shuffled a bit, as I mentioned, for the new release. Indiana's 2026 haul on the football side continues to feature strong in-state representation, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, where they were pretty good last year under Brian Haynes' defense, and they have got the anchors returning for that, and they have backed it up and added to that. But joining Hicks is a tally-touted in-state prospects. Trevor Gibbs, a linebacker out of Crown Point. He is another stud projection, is ranked as the number 12 overall player in the state, while Blake Smythe, a defensive lineman from Franklin, comes in at number 15. Greenwood offensive lineman CJ, how you say his name? Cyphries
has yet to receive a ranking from rivals, but his industry ranking places him as a 3-star and a number 30 prospect in Indiana. Meanwhile, Parker Elmore, a tight end from Columbus, remains unranked by both rivals and the industry ranking. But most of the guys that Curt Cignetti brought over from JMU, low or no ranking. It blew my mind when I found out how many 0 ranked guys they had before. But Indiana has made a clear recruiting gains in the trenches as well, where is very, very important for Indiana, because for years that has been a nemesis for the Hoosiers. It was just hard to. Now there have been times they've had great linemen they put in the NFL, but if you're going to compete at the CFP level and try to get to the CFP, you have to have a solid offensive line, because I promise you, those teams you're going to be going up against are Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. It doesn't matter who you want to talk about. It all starts and ends in the trenches. You've got to have, whether it's running room, protection for the quarterback to throw the ball, it doesn't matter. But there has been a little bit of a pipeline. Samuel Simpson, an interior lineman from River Falls, Wisconsin, ranks as the number 2 in Wisconsin's 2022 class and holds a 3-star state rating. Fellow commit Kenton Mondu, an offensive tackle from Eau Claire, comes in at number 4 in the state, also has a 3-star. Bob Bostat, that's the connection, man. And it's not Wisconsin's not the University of Wisconsin, but the state of Wisconsin's 2026 class. Number 2. You're pulling the number 2 player, offensive lineman, out of Wisconsin. That is getting something done. I mean, that is huge. Not only the number 2 and the number 4. That's nuts. So they are getting it done. You've got basketball recruiting continuing, like I said. But let's see. Jamar Owens on the football side of things. He had a June visit to Bloomington, helped seal the deal for him as a safety. Said he received love like no other. So Indiana is doing an incredible job on the recruiting side. I look forward to I saw that USA Today had the best worst case scenarios for all Big Ten teams. We'll talk about that. We'll take a little break here in a second, but let's see if I can pull that back up. But it was the best and the worst case scenario for all the Big Ten teams. And I'm curious to see, because they're going in alphabetical order. Illinois, and this is great because Indiana and Illinois will kick off Big Ten play. I love the picture they're using for Indiana. You've got the big Mike Kaddick holding the bucket, his tongue out. But best case scenario for the Illini, 11-1. Worst case, 6-6. Well, what the hell? I mean, I think a child could do that. Come on, man. The Fighting Illini have a wide range of possible outcomes in 2024 with several toss-ups throughout the year. Ohio State is seemingly the only guaranteed loss, while Western Illinois, Western Michigan, and Purdue should be easy wins, yes. Playing at Duke, at Indiana, versus USC, at Washington, and at Wisconsin will likely all be close games, and dropping a stinker against Rutgers, Maryland, or Northwestern isn't out of the picture, although I don't see that. Maryland nor Northwestern. Rutgers, who you never know. If all goes well, Illinois will be in college football playoff contention, but several tricky road games could derail that. Well, that's not a lot of great information. Now, Indiana, they say the best case scenario is 10-2, and I'm not going to say that is the absolute best case scenario, but I can see and understand that arriving at that, because that's kind of a number that you'll probably hear from me as we get closer and closer.
Worst case scenario, though, is better than Illinois at 7-5. I don't believe that to be the case. I think the worst case scenario is 8-4 for Indiana. And that would be losing the 3 tough road games and losing versus most likely Illinois. I don't see that happening. And I don't see Indiana losing all 3 road games personally either. Iowa next up on the alphabetical list. Best case scenario for the Hawkeyes, who, again, the eyes have it. Indiana also will be playing the Hawkeyes, this one on the road. Their worst case scenario, 6-6, much tighter window. Just a 3-game span, or 9 wins and 6 wins. So a tighter prognostication for the Hawkeyes, who have won 8 or more games every season since 2015. But that streak is at risk in 2025. The annual Cy-Hawk rivalry game could prove tougher than usual, with Iowa State coming off of a Big 12 Conference Championship appearance. Additionally, Iowa will be an underdog in conference games against Penn State, Oregon, and USC, and games against Indiana, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Nebraska could be tricky. Could be tricky, my butt. I promise you. I think that Indiana goes to Iowa City and does something they do not do very often, and that is come out of there with a win. Of course, the reason that doesn't happen often is because it's a tough place to win. Very defensive-minded teams. Ironically, this alphabetical setup, Indiana, still yet another team on there. Next up is Maryland for M. Best case scenario, 7-5. Don't see that happening. Worst case scenario, 4-8. If Maryland can get to 6-6, I'll be surprised. I'll be honest with you. The Terrapins are in danger of the wheels falling off after a disappointing 4-8 season a year ago. I don't think they've gotten better. The non-conference slate features 3 supposed cupcake games, but NIU could give Maryland a run for its money. Ask Notre Dame. In Big Ten play, the Terrapins receive a relatively easy draw with Michigan and Illinois as the 2 toughest opponents. Indiana is getting disrespected here, if you notice. USA Today has already listed Illinois above Indiana as far as that. They list them here as a tougher game because Maryland has an Indiana on their schedule, and Indiana's not losing to Maryland. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. I'll tell you that right now. But let's see, Wisconsin, Washington, Nebraska, and Indiana could be tricky. What the hell does that mean? Could be tricky. They're going to get their crap kicked out of them by Indiana. Indiana covers the spread on the road. I'm already calling that game. Here's another one. I think, yes. I have yet, going down through the alphabetical order of the Big Ten, have still yet not to find a team Indiana doesn't play. Up next, Michigan State. Best case scenario, 7-5. Worst case, 4-8. Good news for the Hoosiers, as that should give them a easier way to go. Plus, this game is at home. The Spartans should have free wins over Western Michigan, Youngstown State, and will be favored over Boston College in the non-conference game. Playing Michigan and Penn State pencils in 2 losses, and most of the toss-ups. Again, this is a toss-up. Playing at Indiana is considered a toss-up by playing at Nebraska, I don't see that as a toss-up either. Minnesota, not sure that that's a toss-up. Iowa, that's not a toss-up. These are toss-ups. Those are all road games. Nebraska, Indiana, Minnesota, and Iowa. And they consider those toss-ups? I don't know who's writing it. Who the hell is writing this? Joe Hass from the Nittany Lions Wire. Yeah, Joe, I need to get you on, brother, because we are in, like the Big Ten and the SEC, we're in disagreement on this scenario. Finally, we come to a team that Indiana does not play this season, and that is Michigan. Best case scenario, 11-1. Worst case, 8-4. In addition to their annual rivalry with Ohio State, the Wolverines travel to USC and Oklahoma, but the rest of the schedule seems manageable. Michigan is riding momentum after beating the Buckeyes and Alabama in back-to-back games to close out the season and should get a significant improvement in quarterback play from either five-star Bryce Underwood or veteran transfer Mickey Keene. The Wolverines should compete for a playoff appearance and possibly a conference championship. Well, yeah, that should be the expectation. Minnesota, best case scenario, 10-2. Not on Indiana's schedule, but they will play tough games like Oregon, Ohio State, Nebraska. Best case scenario, 8-4. Little pressure on Matt Rule. There's pressure on Matt Rule. And not only that, the quarterback, he'll be a sophomore now. He's got his freshman year out of the way. So does his play rise? And what does Nebraska get done this year? Well, after starting off the season great, they just went on a tailspin after Indiana just throttled them in Bloomington last season. Northwestern, best case scenario, 6-6. That's never good. Ohio State, best case scenario, first one we've seen yet. The Egg, 12-0. Worst case, 9-3. No doubt there. Oregon, best case scenario, 12-0. See, Oregon's getting crowned already on just being who they are. Michigan's kind of getting the same thing, but we'll see. You've got Penn State, best case scenario, 12-0. So Purdue, best case scenario, 5-7. That's probably being generous. Worst case, 2-10. They get a few freebies with the non-con. We'll see. Rutgers, 6-6. Be a tough one. We'll see how that goes. UCLA, who does come to Bloomington this year, best case scenario, 6-6. They're gonna, that's probably going to be a tougher game. They're playing better. You've got Indiana's former offensive coordinator out there, so that's going to be something. And then we get to USC. Best case scenario, 10-2. So USA Today believes that Indiana and USC are on par with each other. Boy, I'd love to see these two teams play. That would be unbelievable. And you want to talk about a huge, huge win. Would that be just not only in name, but in all kinds of ways? But we'll see how the Trojans do, as they just haven't been USC. Washington, uptick in their second season under Jed Fish. Best case scenario, 9-3. Worst case, 6-6. I don't think, they're not on Indiana's schedule this year at all. Wisconsin, who is on Indiana's schedule, best case scenario, 7-5. Worst case, 3-9. Let's talk about another coach that's on a little bit of a hot seat, Luke Fickell. Things have not gone as well as had been hoped up in Madison for Luke Fickell with the and I got to be honest with you, I thought that was going to be different. Well, when they got him, I'm like, oh my, that could be something. So we'll see. And that closes it out for those three teams. But hey, we'll take a quick break. Got lots more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle coming up right after these messages. Stay tuned. We're back with it and much more right after these.
The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State. Find us live on TV and streaming or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all. ISC. Local lives here.
Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's COYLE, to receive a discounted fundraiser. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. When it comes to apparel and promotions, Freethink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. Freethink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. Freethink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what Freethink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com. Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle on this Tuesday. So happy to have you guys along for the ride. Appreciate you being with us. As always, can't do it without you. The NCAA expansion of the tournament is not only still a possibility, probably likely, unfortunately. And again, no one's asking my opinion, nor should they, but it's stupid. It's just utterly stupid. You're messing with whether you take your favorite soft drink, your favorite meal, your favorite whatever, and now you're just going to start throwing stuff on it. Why? It's already good. It's really, really good. I mean, it's pretty great. You've already kind of flirted with it and screwed it up a little bit. We don't need play-in games, but they're there. Okay, we'll live with that. But I know last year more than showed you don't need more teams. You didn't have enough worthy teams to fill the tournament last year. Indiana didn't deserve to be in the tournament. North Carolina absolutely did not deserve to be in the tournament. That was a screw job, thanks to Bubba Cunningham and his nice little bonus he received for North Carolina making the tournament. Stats don't get me started on that one either. But those teams did not deserve to be in. And that's with the fact that the SEC had 14 teams in it. Came from one conference. There still weren't other schools that were really worthy of making it. So we'll see, but it is very possible that we see an expansion, and probably likely, as I said, to either 72 or 76. Why? Definitely 76 is idiotic. It's simply idiotic. I couldn't give two, and I don't think many people will give two craps about those additional 8 teams. I mean, are they having just like unbelievable ratings for these play-in games that I'm not aware of already? That's the last 4 teams in to begin with. And then you're going to add in another 8 on top of that nobody cares about? Yeah, I don't get it. But, well, yeah, there you, that's how it is. So they're going to do what they're going to do, and it all comes down to money. Who could get the extra bids? Who else could go dancing? Why do you need those teams? Let's assume that no changes to the number of automatic qualifiers or the fundamentals of the team selection and seeding. If we were to look at last year's 68-team field and the current Selection Sunday bubble expanding to 72 would have immediately added last year would have immediately have added West Virginia, Indiana, Boise State, and Ohio State. The additional fourth that went to 76, you would have added Dayton, Wake Forest, UC Irvine, and SMU. None of those 8, save for West Virginia. And West Virginia is the only team that deserved to be in, and they got screwed by North Carolina, who did not deserve to be in. So North Carolina should be on this list instead of West Virginia. And then you could say none of those teams deserve to be in. And they would have gotten in. And that includes Indiana. I'm sorry, they didn't deserve it. They had their chances, and they screwed it. They screwed it with losses like at home to Maryland. And those other games that they just did not win. You didn't beat a worthy out-of-conference team. Do you think that the discussion for the CFP is going to be, well, this takes all that out because it's like, oh, okay, well, who are the last 8 crappy teams we can let in? But the thing is, why? What does it gain? There's no demand for this. Not by the fans. How does it add that much more money? Because I just don't see the ratings being there. So how would that bracket be built? Now you'd have 12 seeds. 10, we already have those now, but and here's the thing, of those teams I mentioned, Dayton, Wake Forest, UC Irvine, and SMU would have been a 12 seed. There would have been other teams that seeded below them still. Indiana would have been an 11 seed. And ironically, would have played West Virginia. Now, that would have been great for the irony. And I have to tell you, though, that would have been quite a potentially awkward situation for Scott Dolson. Can you imagine if Indiana was playing West Virginia and they lose that game because no one knew that Scott had that the conversations had been had with the camp of Darren DeVries, and then it would have came out after that. That would have added some drama to the situation, and that's how it would have played out last year. Russell says the NCAA has announced there will be no expansion to the field for the upcoming season. Well, yeah, I don't know that we're talking about next season here, but we're talking about expansion period. And when that would kick in, I don't know that I've seen a date, because a lot of times there are TV contracts that kind of preclude that. Now, I don't know if there are ways to, well, I know there are. We found out that they can get around anything they want. Nobody. You can't listen to rumors, man. Yeah, that was not the case. There was not conversations going on in the Bahamas, although he may have been watching. Scott Dolson may have been watching what was going on. But yeah, I don't think that you can make the change this upcoming season, because the season is not that far away, and there are TV contracts, there are all this that also go into it. We shall see
how it goes. I can't imagine that fans are in favor of it. The only way you're in favor of this, if you're follow a team that just is just not likely to get in. But is that even fun? Just to get in and lose? They're just going to keep screwing with it until they mess it up. It has been one of the greatest sporting events for years and years. Years. I mean, not many sporting events. Hell, there are none. There's no other event that takes America on a three-week run to where everybody's filling out a bracket. Everybody is involved because you have so many teams already and enough already that you have the involvement from everybody all around the country. Now that's going to grow because of the international element. But I'm sorry, the international element, I don't think, is going to be coming in these 72 or 76 teams. They're going to have an effect higher than that, I would certainly imagine. The international element is something else. It's going to be interesting to keep our eye on. Illinois is going to be the litmus test, I think, for a lot of teams. Now, I don't see a ton of teams going all in like Brad Underwood has, but Brad Underwood was kind of under the gun a little bit because he lost he lost 2 players to the NBA first round. Then he lost his other starter to Michigan. So he filled it the best way he thought, and it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Indiana has a Serbian player, and Alexa Ristic talked about him earlier. Does that increase? Does Indiana develop a relationship? Going to Puerto Rico, playing against this Serbian team and with the setup and the people, does that create opportunities for Indiana recruiting in the future? Oh, I think yes. I think without question, you're going to see Indiana being a benefactor of playing in Puerto Rico against these Serbians, making the relationships with the people that are bringing these teams on. They know who the players are, where the players are. So, yeah, I think Indiana is going to be a team that, especially with how Darren DeVries likes to play. His teams, kind of international-esque, to be honest with you. A lot of shooting. Then you land the big guy that can shoot. I can see Indiana doing a number of things. Getting a little international, getting more deeply entrenched within the state, and then you just add in what you need from the portal. And voila. Now you've got a program, and you develop that. You develop those relationships, you develop those pipelines, you develop that recruiting strategy, and you've got an ongoing, perpetual pipeline of talent coming from multiple places. So you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. That's consistency. That allows for consistency. That's why I think I'm high on Indiana football as far as future. I see this as something that Kirk Cignetti is going to just sustain. He's done too many good things. He's from being able to recruit. First of all, from being able to win at Indiana, period. Like nobody has ever done, ever. And beyond anyone's imagination. I mean, that was crazy. I think that Indiana is going to be a football team that people, they're not fully respecting yet. I can tell you that. They're getting respect, but I don't think they're getting the respect they deserve. But they do this a second year in a row, then those people have to say, okay, all right, I'm not putting Illinois ahead of Indiana, which I get it. Illinois is a team that Illinois is a team that deserves respect as well, but they don't deserve it more than Indiana. My God, Indiana outplayed them last year. Not against each other, but I think that Indiana's schedule last year is still kind of guiding the thoughts of some people. We'll see. Got to take a quick break. Glad to have you along. Hit up some of your comments when we come back. Looking forward to it. Glad to have you. Glad to be back. More coming up from Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle right after these beautiful messages.
Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemooreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth's sour mash bourbons, sweet mash, and hard road ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular toasted coconut rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Jim Coyle with you on this Tuesday. Happy to have you with us and happy to be with you. Little news from crazy news from auto racing. It's tough IndyCar weekend for Stingray Robb and his 77 Juncos Hollinger racing team at Iowa Speedway. As video surfaced on social media Sunday evening, the trailer was stopped with fire trucks behind it. The team confirmed that their trailer caught fire out on I-74 heading back to the shop from Iowa. So that was kind of crazy. Hopefully they didn't lose a lot of stuff there, but that'll certainly make your day go bad in a hurry. Indianapolis also hosting the WNBA All-Star Game when you come off of there at the Indianapolis International Airport. If you're coming in for a flight or going out right now, the main concourse, they've got a full course basketball court set up with but they've got the plastic things over the top of the rims, I noticed. So no shooting on the basketball floor. But then you go down the big escalator and there's this big gigantic banner, Caitlin Clark's picture in it. But the WNBA All-Star Game heading to Indianapolis. So that should be fun for those that are looking to enjoy that.
Brian says poor Joseph Newgarden had the fastest car in both Iowa races and ended up with a 2nd and a 7th. Let me ask you this. I didn't see who won the race. Did Alex Palou win? That's all I care about. Yeah, tops on the rims. It was terrible. But what did Alex Palou do this weekend? I know last weekend he ended up in 2nd. He was leading the race last weekend and made a late mistake. And I think it was Scott Dixon that ended up winning that race for his 21st season with a win. Is that right? I can't remember. All that's on memory there. But Pato O'Ward won race 1 and Paolo won race 2. Well, what were the different races? Were they both in Iowa, and which one were they both IndyCar races per se? I'm curious. I did not, like I said, I've been I unlocked, man, which is something I don't get to do very often. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to get back to it though. And because there's plenty going on and it happens in a hurry with all that's coming up. We will be planning to be in Puerto Rico for Indiana basketball's trip down there. We will, the Hoosier.com, Zach Browning will be in Las Vegas for Big Ten football media days. I think that the Hoosier.com's Alec Lasley will be in Puerto Rico for Indiana's basketball games as well. So again, complete coverage for you. And without these games being on television, your only source is going to be Indiana Sports Beat Radio. And hopefully we can get some videos shot, whatever they'll allow us to shoot. But that will be up on the Hoosier.com. So I'm telling you now, go get yourself a subscription to the Hoosier.com. It's only $1 for the first month, 50% off for the entire first year. And you can keep up with everything that is going on, the inside information and all of that. No booze. Nope. No boo. No boo on vacay from 5 lefts. Let's see. Yeah, Pato O'Ward. Both at Iowa, they do 2 races back-to-back days. But are those both considered IndyCar races? Is my question there. Because, NASCAR has the Cup race, but they have the Infinity Series race. And while they're both NASCAR and the truck race, while those are all NASCAR races, they're not Cup races. So Brand says, yes, both are IndyCar races. That's kind of odd. Wow, that's weird. But not Pato O'Ward, but daggone it, Paolo. How in the world? So what is that? It's 7 or 8 wins on the season out of 10 races? He's won 70% of the races. Is that correct? That is, wow, those are big races, 275 laps. But yeah, the dominance that Alex Palou is showing, it's crazy for any sport. But you don't see this now you've seen it in NASCAR before. Maybe when Jimmy Johnson was at his peak, but I don't know if this kind of dominance. And I know that there's been certain years where people have had great runs, but man, it's wild. So looking forward to the Brickyard 400. Anybody going to the Brickyard coming up? It's upon us. Got to solidify getting Chase Briscoe on the program from right down the road at Mitchell, down the road from us here, Mitchell, Indiana. Let's see. He's had some great, like I said earlier, he's had a great season now, and he is locked into the playoffs with his win that he secured at Pocono. So looking forward to that. I hope everybody's had a great day. I certainly have. Great to be back, and looking forward to doing it again tomorrow. We'll be back with you. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. I hope you go out and have yourself a great day. Until tomorrow, I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.